Welcome back to my channel. This is Nikki of Nikki's Homemade Crafts. Today we're going to talk about part one of the Tunisian Crochet Mystery Crochet Along. It's going to be so much fun and it's a wonderful quick project, even great for beginners. So let's grab your yarn and your hook and let's get ready. I am using Mary Maxim's yarn. I'm using Mary Maxim's Glimmer yarn in the color Salmon, as well as Starlette yarn in the color White. You can totally pick any other color combination that works well for you. Anything that you really can think of, you can mix together and that you enjoy, go mix it together. I do recommend grabbing a little extra yarn just in case, because some of you guys may have different tension than I do, or you may grab a different hook than I do. So I used just under one skein of each yarn, but I recommend getting just a little bit more, so have 2 skeins per color ready just in case. You won't use it all, don't worry. Okay, I'm also using a 6.5 millimeter Tunisian crochet hook, sometimes also known as an Afghan hook, but mine has an interchangeable cord at the end with a stopper. Okay, the cord itself is about 9 inches. We're using the Clover Takumi 6.5 millimeter hook. It's part of a set. I have a link down below in the description in case you want to grab the set. The set goes up and down in price all the time depending on the demand, so keep an eye on it if you ever want to get it. This is my absolute favorite set and I use it all the time. If you do not have a hook like this, okay, you can totally use a different hook. Just make sure you have enough space to put your stitches on. Okay, so I measured the entire distance until the stopper from the tip of the hook, and that's a little under 16 inches, so like 15.5 inches or so. Okay, that's how much I have. You're going to crunch up some of your stitches at the back, which is fine. So if it's a little less, that's okay, just not too much less. Okay, and if it's longer, that's totally fine. Okay, so just that you know, you cannot use a regular crochet hook for this project. You're going to need some kind of Tunisian crochet hook, even if it's a straight hook. If you do use a straight hook, make sure there's some kind of stopper at the end, or manufacture yourself a stopper of some sort, because you know certain hooks do not have a stopper. So make sure that your stitches are not falling off at the end. Okay, that's very important. You have a few different options on how to get the pattern. You can get it for free on my website, which has ads, so click the link down below in the description. It's going to take you straight over to the pattern. You're going to scroll all the way down and you're going to find part 1 on the bottom. There's also a table of contents towards the top, usually after the very first image. You can expand that and then click part 1 from there as well. If you signed up for my newsletter for this Mystery Crochet Along, it should have a direct link to the pattern, so you wouldn't have to scroll back and forth. Okay, so that's where part 1 is. Now listen, if you prefer an ad-free option, then the Crochet Club, our membership, is for you. There are 4 different options on how to join this membership. You can join as a monthly, quarterly, or annual member. These are full member access. You get access to over 400 ad-free patterns, get me on a weekly basis, we meet up monthly, and you have further perks such as printables, special discount codes, and all kinds of other things. You also have another option, which is the trial option that only really works for this membership. So you get like a 7-day trial where you get access to the group with hundreds of video tutorials. You can chat with us, you can be part of the live tutorials within those 7 days, and still get access to the ad-free Mystery Crochet Along, but only the ad-free Mystery Crochet Along. If you go beyond the 7 days, you become a full member and get access to everything. Okay, so that's another option for you. Now let's get ready, because part 1 is very quick to explain on my end, but it is a little bit of crocheting time for you. The good thing is it is easy and straightforward and actually very relaxing and a lot of fun. So are you ready? Let's get started. You're going to start with the salmon color or whatever equivalent that you have, and you're going to make a chain of 53. Because I'm just going to teach you the stitch here, I'm just going to make a chain of 13. Okay, so I have 13, you would have 53. Okay, if you have by accident 54 or 55, that is okay as well. Ideally, don't go lower than that. If you have a few extra stitches, again, that's fine. We're now going to start with the Tunisian Simple Stitch, okay? So that's abbreviated as TSS. Okay, so what you're going to do, and that is really the cool part about Tunisian crochet, is it is a combination kind of crocheting and knitting. Okay, you're going to see that we're going to have something called a forward pass, and then we have a return pass. Okay, you always have to work each row twice, going one direction each, and once you hit back to the same spot in the beginning, you're going to start into the next row. Okay, so one row in Tunisian crochet goes this direction, and then it works backwards. Okay, so forward and return, and that is finished for row 1. So let's do that. Okay, so the Tunisian Simple Stitch is sometimes also known as the foundation stitch, but here in this case, we're actually going to use just a Tunisian Simple Stitch for the entire project, okay? For at least for part 1. So let's do that. So you're going to start from the second chain from the hook. I like to go into the back bump. So let me explain. This is the front loop, that's the back loop, and if you turn slightly, that's the back bump, okay? If you go into that, like so, you then going to pull up a loop. Once you've done that, you're going to move to the next stitch. Go into the back bump and pull up a loop. Go into the next stitch in the back bump, pull up a loop. So that's what you're going to keep doing until the end of the row. Okay, so keep pulling up these loops, and that gets you started with the forward pass. At this stage, you can count. Now, I removed here my cord because that can bang on the table, and I prefer you not being annoyed by that while I'm teaching you, so which is also why I'm making a smaller swatch here, okay? But again, you have 53 chains, so let's see how many stitches you're actually going to have once you picked up all your loops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, which means for you, you should have 53 loops on your hook in the forward pass. So now it's time to do the return pass. So at this stage, it kind of looks like knitting, obviously, but we only have one hook. So let's work our way backwards now. So what you're going to do is you're going to yarn over, and the first one is going to be yarn over, pull through 1, like so, and from now on you're going to do yarn over and pull through 2. So yarn over, pull through 2. Now yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and so forth until the end, and you worked up all your stitches again from your hook, and that marks the end of row 1. So you did a forward pass and a return pass, and this is how it should look like at this stage. Okay, what you're now going to do is you're going to go into row 2, and row 2 is going to be the one that you're going to repeat over and over and over again. So let's do this. So when you're going to look at your stitches right here, you're going to see that there's 2, let's call them 2 bars, okay, 2 vertical bars. Let me kind of pull out my hook here and point to it. So you're going to have one in the back and there's one in the front. Okay, if you look closely, you can see that. So again, there's one in the back and one in the front. You're going to focus only on the one in the front, and you're going to stay at the front the entire time. So you're going to insert your hook right behind it. So sometimes it's just going to call it, insert your hook into the vertical front bar, and now you're going to yarn over and pull through. You're going to do this for all the stitches. So literally just insert, pull up a loop. So you're going to repeat what you did in row 1. Just in this case, you're not doing it through the back bump. You're going to do it right here where the vertical bars are, just the front one. Okay, so you're now just going to pick up those loops literally until the end. Once you reach the end, instead of going through one loop, I like to go through both loops. So if you look a little bit here from the side, you're going to see that there's 2 loops right here. To make like a cleaner look, I like to go through 2, but it's totally up to you. If you want to just go through one, then go through one. I like to have a cleaner look, so I'm going to go through 2 here at the very, very last stitch. Okay, so just go through like this. And that is how it's mostly done, by the way. And now you're just going to do the return pass. So for the first few rows, if you're a beginner, I highly recommend counting to make sure you always have the amount of stitches that you need, because there are a few times where I missed a stitch by accident. So just make sure you always have 53 or whatever was your beginning chain number. That's the amount of loops you should have on your hook at this stage. Now the return pass is going to look exactly the same way as we did in row 1. So yarn over and pull through 1 first, and then yarn over, pull through 2, and you're going to repeat that, yarn over, pull through 2 for the rest of the row. You're now going to repeat this row over and over again. You're going to make sure that you have 4 rows per color, and then you're going to switch over to the other color. Then you're going to switch over again to the other color. So let me explain. You're going to have 4 rows per color. And you're going to have 9 strips in total, okay? So 9 color strips, 4 in salmon, 4 in white, 4 in salmon, 4 in white, and so forth until you have 9 in total. You should end up with salmon in my color, that's salmon, okay? So the beginning and the last section should be salmon. In terms of color change, this is how you would do it. If once you have your 4 rows done in one color, you're going to switch colors, and you're going to do that during the very last yarn over pull through, okay, for the return pass. So in that case, you're going to either pick up your white, or if you're going to start, you're just going to have a little slip knot there and pull it through, which is your yarn over and pull through pretty much, right? You can adjust your yarn here a little bit. And now when you go to the next row, you already have the white here on the top, which is exactly what you want, and then you're just going to pick up your color as you've done before, okay? So you can see it right here. So you now can see that all the colors are even, they're all in the same row, and the color transition is perfect, okay? So that's how you're going to do that with the color changes and the color transition. Then you can cut your yarn, make it just a little bit, long enough that you can do something with it later. So let's say about a foot or so. Cut the yarn, don't do anything there, and then stop. Okay, the first thing I know I'm going to get a question about is, what about the curl? And you can see it already that there's a curl happening, okay? If it really, really bothers you, go ahead and block it now, okay? It's totally fine. Go ahead and block it, okay? So that the curl doesn't continue curling. It is completely normal that it curls. That's natural for Tunisian crochet, okay? Very, very normal. Now, the only way to get rid of it is pretty much to block it. This is acrylic yarn, so it's easy to steam block it. So you pin it down on a blocking board, use a steamer, and go ahead and block it, okay? Although I said you're going to cut your yarn, you're probably going to ask me, are we going to finish that row? If you are familiar with Tunisian crochet, you typically do kind of a finishing row, like slip stitches at the very end. Well, we're not quite done with part 1 just yet, or the piece of part 1. So for now, we're just going to cut it, and we're going to continue on it in a later part of this pattern. So just that you know, we're not finishing that part just yet, so don't do slip stitches at the very end of part 1. Now you can see this is how it looks like finished. You can see all the 9 strips, and each one has 4 rows per color. And now it's time to take a picture of part 1 and post it into the Facebook group called Crocheting with Nikki, and use the hashtag June24MCAL, which stands for Mystery Crochet Along. That way I can find your post, I can celebrate you, and everyone else can see it too. That way we can really all enjoy each other and see the progress for every single one and all the cool different color combinations. So, do you have any guesses yet of what we're making? Because part 2 is coming out in a couple of days. If you're watching this as a replay, you may already see it appear here shortly at the end within the last 20 seconds. Are you excited for part 2? I hope you are. And you're going to realize how relaxing Tunisian crochet actually is and how fun this stitch is. So, I hope to see you in part 2. And be sure to like, comment, and share this video with your crochet besties. And of course, subscribe to my YouTube channel and turn on the bell to get a notification next time I publish a new video or go live. And now go ahead and watch the next video. I know you want to. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, bye!